Usually at 5:30 we do high note, low note, which is music headlines. So you want to do that with me?
Yes.
All right.
High note, low note.
WAAF music news, both the good and the bad.
All right, we'll start off like we always do with a high note.
Okay.
Your bandmate, Steven Tyler, has announced that his country solo project is coming out on May 13th.
Text Tyler.
So you all have these side projects.
Yeah.
And
Well,
I'm
that's
trying to
actually-
figure out which one's weirder. Plush Peckers or a country album from members of Aerosmith. This is weird.
You know, I don't. The thing is so much of the music business has moved to Nashville
Right.
you don't just have country producers there anymore. You have a lot of rock writers and rock producers that are moving to Nashville. So I don't really know if he's doing a country album or whether it's going to be a country influenced rock album or what. But I'm dying to hear it.
Well, he says it's coming out on May 13th, so that's the high note. On a low note, Suge Knight was charged with murder and attempted murder following the fatal hit and run that took place in January. He is currently out on $10 million bail.
That's all.
That 10 million. Well, if you did something, could you come up with $10 million for bail? That's a lot of cash to have to give to a court.
I'd have to borrow it from my manager. I know she can afford it. No, that is a lot.
That's a lot of cash.
Quite a bit.
They lowered it from $25 million, which I guess was a lot more affordable for him.
He can probably afford 25. I mean,
The Who, as a high note, The Who is going to release a concert film from a show they recorded in October 13th of 1982 as part of their 50th anniversary celebration. Now, they're one of the only bands that's still actually doing it that's older than Aerosmith.
they're like, I think of them as almost a generation, before us.
Yeah.
You know, they were, it was only a few years later that we came out with our first record, but I still think of them as being up on that pedestal and being, these guys that were the source of so much of what I loved about music. But we had a funny experience in Japan. We were playing at this stadium and at a festival, and they've never really done much touring in Japan. So they actually opened for us.
The Who?
Yeah. And I felt like, this is blasphemy. This cannot. How's this going to work? But so it was amazing being able to go up on stage behind the amp line and hear Pete Townshend's guitar, flying out the back of his amp. And then we went on, we did a really good show. I was pretty happy. I thought we pulled it off.
Is there a lot of stuff in the Aerosmith vaults that hasn't been released? I mean, they're finding this stuff from 1982. Is there stuff that you guys someday might release to all of us? Really?
We have a massive archive. Yeah. And oh my God, Keith, my friend who's here. He
right?
knows.
No, don't tell anybody that.
Okay.
The dude. We'll just call him the dude.
I mean,
over
yeah.
there.
Just organizing it and listening to it and watching it. It's going to be a huge project, but eventually, that's the dream, is to have this constant stream of stuff coming out from, our past, which is a pretty huge past.
On a low note, Bono granted an interview to the New York Times about the update of his injuries that he suffered in the bike accident in Central Park, saying that he's numb in his arm, that his elbow and his forearm are now titanium, and he's not sure if he is ever going to be able to play guitar again. And he said, and I thought it was really funny to have a sense of humor, I didn't come off a Harley Davidson. I came off a push bike and smashed myself to bits. There is no glory here.
Oh, man.
So, is that like, there's got to be some kind of ridiculous rock and roll type injury that you've had, like your Spinal Tap moment on stage. Did you ever hurt yourself doing something ridiculous? Because he seems more embarrassed that it happened while he was pedaling on a bike in Central Park than he does.
Yeah. I got blown up on stage once, actually. There was, we used to, this is when we were, opening for Mott the Hoople, and we had this this metal box that you would put gunpowder in, and there was a wire attached to a battery.
What could possibly go wrong?
What could possibly, but, everybody knew where it was and to stay away from it, except on one night, I was literally standing right over this thing. And luckily, the only thing that happened was it burned the hair off my forearm. But
did it ever grow back, or is that forearm hairless?
It did. It grew back pretty well. Yeah. But anyway, Bono, when he says I may never be able to play guitar again, obviously that for me that would be a nightmare.
Right. Because that's your job.
Well, and
Bono's
but
not
him,
paying the bills playing guitar.
No, but he might be writing his songs with the guitar in his lap, and I mean, anybody that plays guitar, it would be a huge loss not to be able to do that anymore. But when he says that, everybody out here is like, "Well, that's all right. All we need is for you to sing."
Right?
You don't have to play
you got the edge.
thing.
You're good.
Yeah.
You're good. And finally, on a high note, we talked about the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame a little bit earlier. Billy Joe Armstrong from Green Day, those guys just got inducted last weekend.
Nice.
He said the experience for him was, quote, like being at your own wedding and your own funeral at the same time. Is that an accurate description for the only person in the room that's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame?
Well, I can't really identify with the funeral part, but no, like I said before, I was surprised at how moving it was. It really was, and I'm glad they have it actually at the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame now. They used to just do that show in New York City,
right?
And
well, it's the only reason to go to Cleveland, really. I mean, let's be honest.
I can't join in on that sentiment. We have fans there.
Yes, I know,
Jeez,
and I apologize to all of them that are listening online at WAAF.com.